Now available in paperback and Kindle, Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Learn how to avoid predatory females like Instagram models and e-girls in their virtual con games with Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Get your copy of Stop Simping in Cyberspace in paperback and Kindle today.
Beta males are terrible enders. And this was a point that I read in Dr. Robert Glover's No More Mr. Nice Guy book, and I'm seeing it transpire right in front of me with your Democrats and your Dr. Anthony Fauci. Now, when it comes down to your beta males, they just do not know how to end things. And the reason why they don't know how to end things is because they fear going past the finish line. Now, most healthy men look forward to getting past the finish line because once you get past the finish line, then you have an accurate measure of success. Because once you finish what you have started, you have a tangible finished product and you have results that can be measured by a series of standards. But your beta male does not want to go past the finish line because they are scared of criticism and they are scared of failure. Because with your measures of standards, you have to deal with criticism and you have to deal with the fact that either you were a success or you were a failure. And a beta male is afraid of any sort of measure because they fear that somebody will say something negative about them. Now, the main reason why your beta male is afraid of any sort of measure is they are afraid that people will see something wrong with them. Because your beta male wants to live in a smooth world with no problems, no conflicts, and no obstacles. But in order to get to the finish line, a person has to overcome conflicts, problems, and obstacles. And as they are overcoming these conflicts, programs, and obstacles, they have to meet benchmarks that show their success, and they also have to explain the approaches that they use to get that success. But what most beta males want to do is create some sort of ambiguous goal and then have themselves working towards the ambiguous goal with no actual measure of benchmarks, no actual measure for standards, and no actual measures as related to seeing where their approaches got these desired results. No, many of your beta males, what they want to do is have an open-ended policy where they say they're working towards something, but we never really get to see any sort of completion of said goal. Now, an example of this is a beta male who will go out here and he will go out here and buy one of these older cars, and he will sit there and talk about how he's going to go out here and fix this car up and restore it. But this beta male, as he's talking about fixing this car, he'll go out here and buy all of these parts. He'll go out here and buy all of the paint. He'll go out here and buy all of the chair interior and the carpet and all of the parts that to restore this car. But we will never see this beta male ever start working on said vehicle. All of these items will sit inside of his garage, and he will sit there because he is scared and talk about how he's waiting for the right moment to get started. So he will sit there and collect all of these items talking about a goal he's trying to accomplish, but when it's time to achieve that, start work on that goal, he never really starts working towards that progress because he's scared of making a mistake, he's scared of failing, and he's scared of things going wrong. But things going wrong is a part of life, And with any sort of goal, there are going to be a learning curve in the beginning. In the beginning, when you're working towards a goal, you don't know everything, and because you don't know everything, you're going to have to learn along the way, and that's something the beta male doesn't want to do because he's afraid to go out here and fail, and he's afraid to deal with criticism. Moreover, he's afraid to go out here and ask those who know better for help. And because he's afraid, what happens is he either winds up becoming extremely frustrated and leaving things in a stagnant state where things go absolutely nowhere, or he just winds up giving up because he does not have the perseverance or resolve to go out here and continue to push towards the finish line. Now, a person who wants to go out here and do something, they are going to deal with all of those growing pains because they understand that even if they lose in the beginning, they are going to gain in the long term. So for the person who wants to go out here and do something, the overall goal is more important than these little setbacks. But for the beta male, because he wants everything to be perfect and he wants his world to be smooth, he wants things to come easy, but nothing in life is ever easy. Anything worth having in this world is going to be hard, and for you to go out here, you're going to have to persevere in the face of adversity and in the face of criticism, and you're going to have to bring tangible measures as related to your progress, because if you don't know how you got to where you are, then how can you go back and do it again? That is one of the other problems your beta male has when it comes out here to goals. He doesn't understand that every time you go out here and you're working towards a goal, you want to measure your progress so that you can learn how to do this again. But because a beta male is in his feelings most of the time, what happens is he doesn't want to go out here and see what went wrong and how to fix it. No, he gets angry and wants to give up and quit. And he sits there and he doesn't want to take accountability for anything because he doesn't want to be responsible for the failure. And because he doesn't want to be responsible for the failure of anything, he never wants to get past that finish line. And that's why things with beta males never come to a clear resolution. And they don't come to a resolution because he's too scared to deal with the consequences of his actions, and he's scared of having to deal with any sort of negative response from people. So he only wants to hear positive things, and that's the thing that motivates him to go out here and start something like fixing an old car. And what he does is he'll start the work, but then you'll never get an end to anything because he doesn't want an end to anything. And because he does not want an end to anything, what happens is things go on and on and on, and things will just sit there for years on end. And that's a really bad situation for most people to be in. That's why people get frustrated with beta males in places like corporate jobs or government or business, because you ask them to do a project and the project never gets completed because this person, you ask him a specific number as related to what is needed, and he will never give you a specific number, nor will he give you a specific timeline for finishing things, because they fear failure. And because they fear failure, what happens is they drag stuff on. And if you're in business, this guy dragging stuff on will cost you lots of money and lots of time, and it will just wind up eating up resources. So that's why a lot of people don't like to have beta males in charge of things, because beta males can never get to the finish line. And because they can never get to the finish line, companies don't meet their goals, companies don't meet their benchmarks, and companies don't have a measure to measure any sort of success, and because they don't have any sort of measure to measure the success or the approach used to get towards that success, what happens is people wind up being in a limbo state. And when you're in a limbo state, nothing is allowed to grow and nothing is allowed to move on, because another thing with the beta male is that he wants to hold on to things and not finish them, because that's how he gains power over people. And as long as he holds the project up, he can get leverage over people. And this is a covert contract that some beta males use to try to gain more attention for themselves, because they are insecure about being social with others, and because they cannot go out here and gain the respect of others based on the merits of their actions. What they do is hold people hostage by holding their projects up, holding their business ventures up, in an effort to try to form a social relationship or to try to gain attention for themselves, because they don't have any sort of skills socially. So what they want to do is keep the spotlight on them. And as long as the problem is there, they can continue to keep you focused on them, but nothing ever gets finished with this type of issue. And what happens is usually people wind up getting frustrated with this individual because they can never meet the finish line. And because they can't get to the finish line, people wind up getting hindered, and eventually they wind up getting rid of said individual because they get tired of having to deal with this person never being able to finish anything. And that's another reason why many people just don't like beta males, because they keep you from being able to move forward in life. They keep you from being able to meet your goals, and they keep you from being able to do what needs to be done, because they want to try to hold your life in their hands, and they want to gain leverage and power over you. So they fear that if you walk away, they won't be the center of attention. So they'll keep dragging things out on and on and on and on and on, and you'll never get to the finish line because they keep moving the goalposts, because they set an ambiguous goal. But with this type of individual, you have to set a hard goal with that kind of individual, because you need a hard date for a finish, and you need a hard date for when things are going to be completed. Because when you are in business, you need to have hard dates as related to where you want things done, when you want things completed, because for you to move forward, you need a series of standards and measures that show where the benchmarks are meeting progress and where the goals are being on the road to completion. But with your beta male, there is no road to completion, and dealing with him can set you back for months and even years. And that's why it's just frustrating to deal with them, because they just do not know where the end is. And many women, they get frustrated with beta males when they date them, because they won't let a relationship end. A woman will try to break up with a beta male, but he will just keep coming back, never accepting that things are over. And because he cannot accept that things are over, what he does is he continues to try to have the relationship, and he will try to either try to get the woman back, or he will eventually change into an enemy and then start doing things like stalking the woman, because as long as he's an enemy, he can still have a relationship with the woman. So people, again, they deal with beta males, and they are a nightmare to deal with, because they cannot finish, and because they cannot finish they cannot get anything moving forward, and they can't start the next project. Yes, beta males will start a lot of things, but they will never finish anything, because they fear the finish line, and because they fear the finish line, nothing ever gets completed, nothing ever gets done, and nothing ever moves forward, and they stagnate people's lives because they are afraid of moving forward. And because they're afraid of moving forward, what happens is people's lives go nowhere, and that's why people leave most beta males where they can find them, because they want to move forward, they want to make progress, they want to move in a direction that shows that they are able to get their lives moving in a forward, and they want to have goals and benchmarks that show their progress and where they're at, because telling me that, oh, I'm working on it is not a definitive statement as related to progress. No, a person who knows where they're going, they're going to tell you, okay, like for example, for myself, when I'm writing a book, I will sit there and say, okay, I want to write a chapter a day, and that is my daily goal. And then as I get to the story points like plot point 1 or the first act, I am going to look at that and try to get to that point in either 2 or 3 weeks. And again, these measures show where I want to go and where I'm going. And as I'm doing this, I am working from a 3-act paradigm, which is a model and a standard. And these are things that show me where I'm going, what I'm doing, and how I'm progressing. It's just, and that's what guys do out here. But beta males don't want to do this because, again, they are terrified of failure, but they don't understand failure is part of the process, and failure is just an opportunity for you to see where you went wrong, and an opportunities to learn from whatever mistakes you have made. But these guys are so afraid of making a mistake that they wind up making themselves go nowhere. And the irony is that as they try to move themselves forward by trying to do everything perfect, they wind up going nowhere because they don't want to learn anything, and they don't want to learn anything because they're afraid of failure. But no man is perfect on this earth, and if you're going to go out here, you're going to have to learn how to fail, and that is something many beta males never learned how to do. And because they don't know how to fail, that's why they never succeed in life. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to learn more about the dysfunctional behaviors of beta males, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis on Smashwords, the iBook store, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.